and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Hi, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Brad, you want to talk today about sciatica
Exactly.
and also issues about what is it going to come back if it goes away?
Right. I get a lot of questions, or we get a lot of questions like that from our viewers. Will it return? Is it a higher risk to return? And it's like, well, that's a pretty good question, because I know from, and you probably know from experience, we think that people who have sciatica, it heals, there's a better chance of it coming back again. The
Right.
reoccurrence rate is...
You have a higher chance being the fact that you had it before.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but not to get too concerned about it, because there's things you can do about that.
Right, you're going to have to change some of your behaviors.
Sure.
Basically, because what led to it the first time can happen again if you just keep living your life the same way.
Exactly. So you need to learn from your mistakes. And a lot of times mistakes you had, you weren't aware of. And that's where the therapist
Right.
comes involved.
Right.
Can we get our Napoleon over here?
Sure. I think that's the first time you called him by his right name.
I was wondering if that was right.
Napoleon Bonaparte. By the
Yeah.
way, since Brad's trying to go get something right now, if you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe. Our button's right over here.
Right there.
We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we upload every day.
And we have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that.
So sciatica, we're talking about pain that goes from the back and extends down the leg. I forgot we had the hamstring on here. It goes down the leg and it can go all the way down into the foot. And the reason, because is the nervous system, the way it's put together, is now this is a pretty crude model, but
That would be the sciatic nerve.
right, that would be your sciatic nerve, and it is one big bundle of nerves. This tape off my finger. Up here, in the area here where you got your piriformis muscles and your buttock muscles, which can be a source of sciatica if these
Sure.
muscles are pinching it. A lot of times the problem comes from up here where the disc interferes with one of the nerves, and it sends signals and pain down that nerve tract and go all the way up to your toes, which is not uncommon at all, right, Bob?
Right. It'd be down to the toes, though.
Yeah, man, I've got to quit reading so many books, Bob.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are we at, Brad, now?
All right, so now we know where the source is, and we're going to actually look a little bit at the low back, because I would say probably 50% or more of sciatica comes from the low back. And with sitting, with poor posture, bending, just even things like bending over while you're brushing your teeth, or bending over to pick up a pencil, to picking up that 40 pounds of salt that you're going to put in your water softener, even more stressful. But we're going to look at that disc and see what happens with that disc. That disc, with poor posture and all those things we just talked about,
Can bulge out or herniate out.
right, and you got a good view of that herniation, Lonnie?
Now, this is going to happen on a healthy disc. This is going to happen on a disc that's worn out in the back over time.
Right.
You put the pressure on over and over again,
Right.
and it just gives out.
Right. You know, we've heard a lot of experts say you don't injure your back from one event.
Right.
It's almost always accumulation of what you've done.
Kind of a
over-
lifestyle issue, and a lot of times it's from, well, we'll talk about some of the issues,
Yeah.
Brad.
And then you get that pain down the leg, and then you have sciatica.
Right.
Okay. So we talked about, is it going to return? I thought, let's look up a study. So I looked up a study by the Journal of Clinical Epidemiology.
Epidemiology.
Yeah, we've got to get the speech therapist working on me today, Bob. Okay, 622 subjects. This is at a workplace, and all 622 of these had sciatica. Okay, there's a certain number of them that did improve and got rid of the sciatica, no leg pain. However, of those resolved cases, 61% of them continued to have back pain, but it was intermittent, come and go, and it wouldn't interfere with their life.
So sciatica was gone,
Right.
but they still had back pain.
They still had back pain, coming and going, still could work, but it just was an irritant. Okay, 27% of the resolved cases of the sciatica had chronic back pain. That meant all the time they felt that nagging pain, still functional, but you know,
Okay.
it made life a little unruly.
Unbearable. Right, yeah.
So right there are some statistics. It can continue to haunt you right afterwards. But the interesting part is they looked at the factors that all of these people had were the same. They all drove more than 2 hours per day. In other words, they're sitting. I don't think it matters whether you're driving a car or if you're in a sitting position.
And I think that's what we've discovered here, Brad. More than anything that I say to patients is that back pain and sciatica has become not a lifting problem, it's become a sitting problem.
Right.
And part of it is because your back's in that somewhat rounded position all day long.
Yep.
I think driving is a little worse than office, Brad, because there's shock absorption.
Sure.
Too.
You got
so
the
there's a
bumps.
little more, a little more stress on the spine. Plus, there's no brakes. There's brakes in the car, but there are no brakes that you can stand up while you're driving and take pressure off.
Exactly, you're on a long road trip.
It's especially if you have a hour commute one way, an hour commute the other way.
Right.
That's a lot of stress on the back for driving.
Well, actually, let's go through the 4 things. We can come back and give them a little information on how to remedy this.
Sure.
The next one is carrying heavy loads at work. This is, again, the study was towards the workplace. And that's pretty clear. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. They're lifting.
Right. Everybody knows inherently that's the problem. But when you combine the heavy lifting with sitting, that's when it starts to become killer.
Right. You drive an hour to work.
Right.
You work with heavy weight. You sit in your car again and drive back.
Right.
Yeah. So we need.
That's the recipe for getting a herniated disc or sciatica.
Beating up that disc right and left.
Yeah.
The other one is they have a high level of psychosomatic issues. In other words, with pain, it can really change how you view things.
Pain, yeah.
Right. And we're not going to get into that heavily because
it's not a strength of ours is going into that area, but
it's a psychologically
right.
psychology part of it, and we're going to cover that. There's books written on that, and we would take a whole video to cover that. And the other one is if the person had sciatic symptoms, in other words, pain down the leg, for a year or so before the incident that put them out of work, that was another factor that they all had in common.
It means they had it for a long time.
Right.
They've been working on this for a long time. And I always tell patients, Brad, that this problem took a long time to develop. It's not going to get better overnight. And that's why I try to tell people to invest in making the changes. And it may be slowly, but look for what the changes happen where they are positive.
Exactly. So let's go back and see how we could change some of their habits so this does not return. Can I have that chair?
Talk about the driving first.
Yep. All right. So have a seat there, Bob.
Got the roll right there, Brad, if you want to.
Yep. Okay. So in your car, if you've got a lumbar support automatic button, sometimes there's a button here or a knob you can twist, but there's going to be a support right here in the low back, and that's going to arch your back, and that's going to help put the stress on that disc like we were showing.
And this is going to put stress on that disc the whole drive. So you want to have your car seat fairly upright too, Brad. You don't want to have it back like this because you're going to round out like this if
Reaching
you do.
for the steering wheel. So it's a basic posture issue. One thing you can do is you can just do something simple like taking a towel roll, tape it up. The diameter is going to vary on the individual. If you're a large person, usually a little bit bigger one. If you got soft, cushy seats, a little bit bigger one. If you got firm seats, skinny person,
you might even keep 2 sizes in your vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I do with in my car actually. But just to give you an idea, you're going to put it right in there, and you're going to lean back, and that should feel like good support. If you put this behind your back and say, boy, that feels good, and you drive for 20 minutes, you say, man, I wish I would have had this 10 years ago. I mean, right there is a clear reason.
Now that felt like too much to me, Brad,
Yep.
but I do always use a support in my car, just a smaller one.
You can buy them like this. This is a McKenzie support, which McKenzie's really big into back pain and lumbar supports. And it's going to be a little cushier, and these are more comfortable than...
Yeah, that is better.
Yeah, doesn't that feel better, Bob?
Yep.
And there's different sizes of supports, too. This is a smaller one.
Shapes, it's got everything.
Yeah, you just look it up on Google it, and you'll see all kinds of lumbar supports.
The other thing, if possible, if you can break your drive up, I know that may be difficult, Brad, but if you can, halfway through the drive, get out, walk around the car, maybe have your daily routine where you stop at a gas station and pick up a cup of coffee or something. But even when you stand up, Brad, a lot of times it's helpful to do some of these back bends.
Sure.
Because you've been flexing like this all along. Go ahead and take your hands and go ahead and do a couple of stretches like this, which helps balance things out and put it the other way.
Absolutely. Now let's go to the lifting aspect. Okay, they talked about people who lift a lot at work, and there you go. Bob does the classic bend from the back. All the stress is going here.
Knees are straight.
And go ahead and lift it up, Bob. And you can do that. Go all the way up, Bob. Pick there you go. And then down. But he's up in a nice posture here, which is good for carrying it. Now demonstrate a good healthy lift, Bob. There.
One thing I tell Brad is, I always look down at the object, but then once you're grabbing the object, actually keep your head up.
Sure.
Because if you pull your head down, the back rotates down too.
Let's take a look
So-
at, this is what we like to use is, he's got contact here, here, and here, keeping it straight back. Okay, now do it wrong again, Bob, and we can see what happens to that. There you go. And you can even bend your knees, Bob. You can bend your knees
And still do it wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Some
we see
people
that.
think because they bend their knees, they're lifting right.
Yeah, we always give the cue, like you may want to think about like your upper back is in a cast.
Right.
So that when you go down, it actually, you'd break the cast if you were lifted wrong.
Exactly.
So,
Watch that, again, that combination, sitting for long periods of time with poor
And
posture,
lifting.
and lifting, or even just bending over, brushing your teeth. It's amazing what that'll put stress on your back.
if you can try to, temper those two issues, you're going to do a lot better and less likely to have your sciatica come back.
Absolutely.
Or stay around.
Right,
So,
exactly.
thanks for watching.
God, you're thinking good today, Bob.